So Hustle Buddies, welcome to this evening's really in-depth interview. We've got Alex Moss here, the creator of Tactical Arbitrage. If you guys are unaware, Tactical Arbitrage it's pretty much the golden standard. Like there's a lot of tools where there's sort of like, you can use this or that or that. For online arbitrage, like if you're doing it seriously, everyone uses Tactical Arbitrage. There's not really a good competitor out there, which it's just a compliment to how fantastic of a program it is. So we're going to be dropping a link for those of you guys who do want to check it out. I'll be putting our link in the chat. And then if you do go there, make sure to use the code HustleBuddies and you'll get like an extended free trial just to test it all out. But yeah, we appreciate you coming here, Alex. Oh, and also I'll probably be recording and putting this on YouTube. So if you're watching the YouTube recording, shout out to you guys. Thanks for watching. So
hey YouTube, hi Facebook, hang on.
So yeah, Alex, can you give us like, what is Tactical Arbitrage for the person who's walking in off the street? Yeah, what is it? Why do I need it?
Okay, so basically when I first got into online arbitrage myself, you open up your Seller Central account, you start sourcing products to try and put into your Amazon store. It was really arduous to find anything. It was just a pain in the backside. You'd have to go to a website that you anticipated may or may not have a deal, or a promotion or a clearance or something. And then you would go through the motions of maybe cutting and pasting the title from there over into Amazon, and it was just a nightmare. It might take minutes per product, and then by the time you've done your calculations and you've gone into the Amazon calculator, so on and so forth, you'd eventually know whether or not there was a buck in it or a few dollars in it. And I just was like pulling my hair out, saying, "Is this honestly the way that people are doing this? Surely I'm missing some kind of tool." And I was searching, thinking, where is something that you could, that could do all that? I better just make something for myself to use. So I created this tool some years ago now. And the concept behind it is, for those who are sort of just getting into online arbitrage, is to help make that entire process more turnkey and a hell of a lot faster. So, for example, you can point at an entire category of, say, Target.com, for one of a better example, and it'll scan through. Perhaps you're looking at all the toys at Christmas time. It'll just go bang, 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 bang. This one is a match with Amazon's catalog. This one has no profit in it. This one does have profit in it. Here are the margins after fees have been taken out, and it spits out a collection of what may be worth you listing on your Amazon FBA store, and it kind of grew from there. I mean, from the very base level of just being a sourcing tool to like a Swiss Army knife of sourcing options. There's reverse search. And insert like an entire bunch of Amazon ASINs, and it'll look back at all of the stores that are in our catalog.
Yeah, and those have been some of my favorite tools.
Yeah, reverse search is great. The good thing about it used to be you could run one search, like product search, and then when that finished, you could start up a reverse search. And we've made it now so you can run 7 searches simultaneously. So you can have a couple of reverse searches going, mixed with a couple of product searches. Maybe you've got a wholesale manifest, you're running a scan on that to have a look at all of the different products that might come from a wholesaler. And then you've got a couple spare that you can maybe use for library search or run another product search. So you can keep yourself pretty busy now, as long as you sort of set your settings correctly and you're pointing the search engine into the right places. You should be seeing products appear in the results that might be interesting to you to list.
Yeah.
But long story short, it's a sourcing tool for online arbitrage. It's to help you find things to sell, and does all the calculations and the maths for you to help you see whether there's profit or not, based on the the current conditions of the pricing over here. Like this might be a sale over here. And it might be a popular product on Amazon at the moment, so it's achieving good returns. And
yeah, I mean, like, so with that specifically, I know just this past weekend, for those people in Hustle Buddies, they know about the giant Kohl's sale that just went on. And there was all sorts of different stacking things, like you get 30% off and then 20% in Kohl's cash or this, that, and the other. And with Tactical Arbitrage, aren't there like, I want to say like 6 layers or something. There's a certain number of discounts that you can just keep adding, like, okay, there's 30% off and then 20% off and then 10% and then 5% and then 2% and whatever. And you can just input all of that into Tactical Arbitrage and it'll spit out the same data for you. So
we have built in what's called source price adjustments, and it's one of the one of the most important filters that you can add when doing a search, because quite often when people are starting out, they'll neglect to use that. And so what they'll do is they'll search, let's say they're searching, say, fat brain toys or something like that. And they just basically do a search and then they compare it against Amazon, and then maybe they get 1 or 2 results, for example. But had they just gone in and worked out to put in, say, the Ebates percentage off, or maybe there's some discount gift cards available over at, Card Cash or Gift Card Zen or something like that. And maybe Fat Brain Toys also has a coupon out there for like 10% off the entire store wide. If you use, Fat Brain 10 in the coupon, you can stack all those. So you go into your source price adjustments and you might put 10 for the coupon. You see that there's a 7% discount at Ebates today if you use that link. And you've managed to get some gift cards for 3% off or 6% off. So by the time you rerun that exact same scan with no different parameters at all, but you've incorporated the discounts, instead of just getting a couple of results, you might get a dozen, for example. Some of them more attractive than others. And the thing about that source price adjustments filter is that if you take the time to do that, and somebody else sitting in the next room or sitting across the country has not taken the time to do that, then the guy across the country throws his hands in the air in despair and says, I didn't necessarily find anything, what is the good of all this? And then who've done, that perfect synergy of filters and done the exact same scan, maybe it took you 2-3 extra minutes to orchestrate the adjustments as well. You've suddenly got a dozen items that you're able to put into your FBA store that the other guy didn't. And this is where, sometimes people say, it used to be a worse problem when we only had, say, 30 stores to choose from, but now there's like 1,000 spread across several countries. But it used to be a problem where people would say to me, there's only 30 stores. How do I know that he's not going to get the exact same products as me, and we're just going to have this big race to the bottom? And it doesn't work like that, because your filters will always be slightly different to his filters. And if you've done it intelligently, you're more likely to see a section of stuff that this guy over here won't see. I had a good example today where somebody messaged me in admin and said, I don't seem to be getting many results. And I said, let me go into your account and have a look how you've got it set up. He had restricted himself in so many ways because he over-filtered. He said, ranks under 100,000, must get over $5 profit, must be over 15% ROI, cannot have Amazon as a seller, must never be out of stock, etc. And there were so many. And I messaged him back and said, okay, so let's say you've got a 14% profit, right? And it's a 1,000 rank. So it's selling all day, every day. Bang, 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 bang. I know the banks won't give me 14% on something like that. So straight away, he's eliminated that product from his results because he said he will only take 15% or higher. Not only that, but there might only be one person selling. Let's say the item is at Amazon for $30.64, the current buy box holder. That guy might only have one in stock. And then the next person might be $34.20. So as soon as the first person holding the buy box sells his single unit, then the next buy box amount is going to be the $34 guy. And then the return on investment changes from, say, 15% up to, say, 27%. Yeah. And by him sort of eliminating all of these, like by restricting himself like that, he's not even able to go into the Tactical Edge product and see, which is built into Tactical Arbitrage, and I can show you all that.
Yeah.
But he's not even able to see whether or not there's opportunity for a greater return on investment by just waiting for that buy box seller to sell his one unit. So you can really shoot yourself in the foot by filtering way too hard, and just if you're just looking for these amazing deals, you're going to leave a lot of amazing deals on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But the flip side of that would be, he said, ranks of only 100,000 or something like that. Let's say maybe it was 150,000, but let's say there was a product with a $20 return, or an 80% ROI, and the rank was 152,000. Well, he's filtered that out too.
Mm-hmm.
And that 150,000 ranked product, I mean, let's say that's a toy. 150,000 ranks in toys is still going to be selling, 10 to 15 units a month, or maybe, I'd have to check, but around about that. He would be shooting himself in the foot, because he's losing out on 2 to 3 sales a week of, say, $20 at a time, just because he's set his filters way too tight.
Yeah, it's definitely a delicate balance. I know, like, people were asking beforehand as far as Tactical Arbitrage. There was one person saying, I don't think they used any filters at all, or at least that's sort of what it sounded like.
Well, my recommendation, see, we have to have the filters there, because everybody uses TA completely differently to everybody else. Some people are adamant they will never pick a product that Amazon also sells. Now, I don't sell as much anymore. I do a bit in Australia for testing, because we have Amazon over here as well. I see it as a conflict of interest for me to be diving in hard in the US store. I've got access to.
And I'll say, like, from our point of view, since we are very active sellers, I've never not purchased something because Amazon was a seller. Not a single time.
Back when I had, my Seller Central full of products all the time, I sold everything, and Amazon was on most of those. There might have been some small adjustments. I ended up finding out, way back then, the sweet spot was if I priced myself about 35 or 36 cents cheaper than Amazon, I would get rotated into the buy box. And that percentage probably changes depending on rank, price point, etc., etc. But for those like $20 to $40 items, I was just about 50 cents cheaper or whatever, and I was suddenly getting rotated in.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never eliminate that. But I have to have all these filters, because some people won't sell if Amazon's on there. Some people won't sell if some people don't want to see when the source site has the product out of stock. Now, I would still get those too, because let's say it's out of stock. Tactical Arbitrage has got a setting which allows you to automatically check several times a day any products that you say to have a look at. And TA will go in and say, okay, checking to see, the item's back in stock. I'm just going to send you an email. So you get an email saying that, the G.I. Joe pack or whatever, that has like a 76% ROI, that is out of stock, that you've just gone, oh, damn, that's a shame that that's not in stock. That would have been a good flip.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to set up the auto updates feature, you get the email, and likely you're one of the only people, the only few people who's bothered to set up that update. Took an extra minutes, and you get an email, and you've got enough of those products being scanned, and you'll get an email every day saying this one's come back into stock. This one is now positive ROI, et cetera, et cetera. So using Tactical Arbitrage smart, and you'll be busy and you'll be profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So can you, I know there's a lot of people in our group that are super, super new to Amazon, new to different things like that. Can you show us just a really basic, because Tactical Arbitrage is so powerful, there's so much that you can do with it. Can you show us just sort of the intro, here's just a bite of how to actually source something? Maybe we can find something, but just sort of that beginning sourcing method using Tactical Arbitrage, so that people can sort of see how it works, and not get too overwhelmed. And then once they get the basics, then absolutely get overwhelmed. There's so much just, I mean, like the reverse sourcing, scraping wholesale lists, what he was saying, like getting email reminders about out of stock stuff. There's so many ridiculously powerful tools that like each one on its own is worth its weight in gold, but they're all.
It can seem complicated, but you can do it so uncomplicated, so simple. So let me just go and share my screen and show the basics on how to make this work.
And also, while we're waiting, guys, if you have any questions regarding tactical arbitrage, please drop them in the comment section. I'll be kind of looking over there periodically, trying to see if there's any new ones. I wrote down all the old questions from the past 2 posts already. So I picked out a couple of those. We can't get to all the questions, but yeah, if you guys have good questions, make sure to drop it in the comment section.
So how's that resolution look to you? Is that all right?
Looks good to me on my end.
Okay, fine. Because I've got a ultra wide monitor, so I've just sort of made a window.
Oh, gotcha.
That would work. I do recommend if you're getting into tactical arbitrage that you do sort of get a nice wide monitor, because when you start getting into sort of the view data page, you'll see there's a lot of columns, and the more columns you can see, the better.
Yeah, or at least like a dual monitor system.
Yeah, yeah, that would work too. So this is the product search page, and this is the page where most people will begin. In fact, when you first join Tactical Arbitrage, you'll begin on a basic variant of this, which is really simple. It basically just allows you to select a store, select a category from that store, drop in a few discounts, because as I said earlier, that the discounts that you put in and the adjustments that you make will impact the the calculations and what your investment calculations end up being. So I prefer to work in the advanced panel. Now, it really isn't as different. People probably wouldn't sit in the basic panel for very long, because the advanced panel is essentially the same interface with a few extra features. So I'll pop over into the advanced panel. So what I've selected here at the top is sites with UPCs only. Now, UPCs are universal product codes. It's essentially the barcode on the side of any products. There'll be like a barcode with a number on it. And Amazon has a database of products with these numbers as well. And obviously, when you get a match, the product on a barcode, matching the product at Amazon's UPC number, then you're significantly more likely to say, okay, I agree that this is a 100% match. Now, there can be reasons why it might not be a match. People might change their packaging over time. So what a packet looked like when the UPC was first put in the system might be different later on down the road. But as a general rule, UPC is a better match. The other option, of course, is a title match. Now, I was never really happy that title matches were as perfect as they could be. You know, people would scan a title matching site. Let me show you what I mean here. So here's the websites that are UPC only, and you can see we've got 8 Books, and Ace Hardware, and Barnes and Noble, and so on. But if I untick this, so we can show also source sites that don't have UPCs at the source site, then you've got all these title image matches. You've got 511 Tactical, 6 PM. You've got a lot of really, really good sites here that you shouldn't exclude. Now, the thing is, a title match might be sometimes, let's say, the example that I like to use is there was a website where one of the products was like dog bowl. And dog bowl, when you put that against the Amazon catalog, is never going to give you the correct match, because there's 100,000 different dog bowls on there. But I wanted to be able to sort of still see what the right dog bowl was, so I added an artificial intelligence style neural network algorithm to also, once it's narrowed it down via title searches, to then look at the images and try and work out which image is most likely to match the same image. So that means that title/image matched products are now significantly better, because you have a match quality score column that you can go into and see whether or not the item is a 96% confidence match,
Yeah.
or only a 42% confidence match. And you can also filter those in your settings and in your columns to say, I only want to see things that are over 75% match quality. And then happy days, all those title image domains become useful again.
Yeah.
They're not so useless with all these, scary results that are mismatches.
And I'll often find some of my best products that are like image and title matches only. Because you're eliminating so much competition where they only want that 100% the UPC must match the UPC. But there's so many products on Amazon that have either the wrong UPC or a different UPC, or they're GTIN exempt. And so, yeah, like getting those title matches or image matches, obviously everything is good. Like UPC matches are fantastic as well. But some of our best things are because we took that extra step and we put in a little extra legwork, and the person who puts in more work gets more money.
This is why the people who sort of tune into these kind of webinars, they get those extra gold nuggets, because let's say you don't watch this. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go, well, I better stick with UPC sites only, and I don't know about these source price adjustments and things, so I'll leave that blank for now. Mm-hmm. And then within a short space of time, you've found a handful of products that maybe are in the most commonly swum swimming pool, Target Toys is a no-brainer for people to jump into. Whereas you've got all these amazing ones here. I'm not sure if it's in the fixed pile at the moment, but I like Miniature Market. It needs to get fixed a lot. There it is. Miniature Market. It's worth scanning. That site is a title image one, but you always find some gems in there because they've got obscure board games. It's a nice match, because normally the photograph of the board game at Miniature Market is the same as the photograph of the board game at Amazon. Board games got a lot of detail on them in the image, and so normally the images match up nicely, which gives you a nice match quality score. And it's not the sort of site that people may necessarily scan, but there's so many goodies once you open it up.
Yeah,
it's difficult to even know where to begin because there's just so many. There is a good trick though with that. What I suggest people do is, preferably if you've got a virtual assistant, because it'll make it nice and easy that way, because they'll do all the work for you. But I recommend you set up an email account, which is not necessarily your same as your existing email, or set up a folder within your existing email account and funnel in all of the newsletters from all of these. Mm-hmm. So let's say eBags, for example, they're going to have a sale and they're going to send out an email about it. But if you're not on the newsletter, you won't hear about it. So every single one of these sites has got a place to sign up. So you sign up Miniature Market, you sign up Moose Jaw, you sign up Optics Planet, etc., etc. And then you wake up in the morning and you see all these emails, and there might be 6 emails for the day, 25% off store-wide, 30% off, like particular category at overstock.com, etc. Mm-hmm. That's clearly where you're going to be spending your focus and your searches for the day. Well, you're going to want to go straight for the already discounted places. Then you want to stack that with your gift cards or your cashback sites, etc. Pretty soon, you're buying a $60 product for $37.50 that sells regularly on Amazon for even for the same amount for $60. It might sell them that $7.50, $60. Amazon takes out their cut. You're down to $45, and you've got yourself 20% ROI on that. And that's basically a good winning strategy right off the bat.
Yeah.
Get those deal emails, scan those sites.
Now, obviously, there's almost nearly 1,000 websites. So don't sign up for every single one because you're going to get overloaded, but pick 5 to 10 websites that you think, okay, I want to source Kohl's, I want to source Academy, I want to source whatever. Pick maybe 5 to 10 sites to start with, and kind of go from there. Because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with too many stores and too much information. But yeah, that's a fantastic thing, setting up a folder or an email and all of that.
True. And then ultimately add more and more as you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. With leveraging upwards. You don't want to saturate your task list so much, but once you've got yourself some systems down pat and your scanning has a certain a certain rhythm to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to sort of work out how to utilize your search manager to sort of watch your scans and how many scans you're going at once, you will be able to add more and more to that, and pretty soon you'll be very busy. So let's do a UPC site. Walgreens. So if I open up Walgreens, sorry, that little button there will just pop open the site you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And right there on the page, this is another way you can find out what's currently going on. You can go straight there on the home page. There's usually some deals there.
Oh yeah, BOGO free vitamins. I was just at the store looking at those.
Yeah, buy one, get one 50% off. Is this Walgreens branded products? Looks like it is. So there's a couple of ways to sort of do a scan. I'm going to grab the URL because I'm old school. We have other ways of doing it, of course. You can start an easy bulk list, which is very, very simple. You just go in and grab a few categories there. I'm kind of trying to laser target something here though, so I'm going to scan a very specific URL. You can put multiple URLs in here if you want. Used to be you could only do one, but now I think you can do 25. Let me just check.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can put, I think, 25 there. A lot of people go the easier option where they just tick use easy bulk and they select a category. One of the advantages of doing like a URL though is that you might find that some of the categories that are like standard and generic for the entire store don't necessarily encapsulate a deal that is just popped up. So this deal here might be a URL that won't be there next week. So it probably isn't in the generic list of easy bulk, even though we try and update things regularly.
Yeah.
By laser targeting like this, a deal, a promotion that's on right now, then I'm going to see some results.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tip right there.
So what we know about this deal is it's buy one, get one 50% off. Now, a little bit of mental gymnastics tells me that's 25% off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I currently have my automatic cash back and automatic gift card features on. This was recently an integration between a product called Rev ROI and Tactical Arbitrage. Rev ROI is put out by Christopher Grant. And what this tells me is that if I go across to Go Cashback, that they're giving out 7% cash back by using the Walgreens link. That didn't open for me. Sometimes I get penalized for being in Australia.
Yeah.
No, I do. It happens quite a bit, actually. So I click on a link from Australia and I realize I need to put my VPN on. But,
yeah, so what Alex is looking at right now, if you guys are unfamiliar, these are all click-through sites. So it's just like if you were to use like Ebates or Rakuten, these are just other options, and pretty much every day, different options will give different percent back. So if you want to keep things simple, you can go with something like Rakuten all the time. But if you really want to squeeze out like every possible percentage, then yeah, get something like this, and this will just compare every single click-through site. And this is just, it's free money. They're just giving you money to click on their link.
Yeah, and if there's some that you never use, let's say you never use, say, Greenback Street or Simply Best ones. Let's say you don't use half of these. You're simply going to edit sources. You untick the ones that you just never ever use.
Yep.
And then when it does the automatic cashback selector, it won't like draw upon the ones that you just never ever use. So let's say you only ever use, say, Ebates and Doubly or whatever. I don't think Doubly's around much anymore, but let's say you only use Top Cashback and Ebates, and you just select those two. It's going to give you the best cashback option there. Now, gift cards, the same kind of thing. You've got card cash here. We've got gift card spread, but we've got a list here of ones that you might just use Raise, for example. And you can always pop into the site to make sure that it does exist before you start the search. Make sure these gift cards do exist before you start the search. And providing you're happy with everything there, then you can start a search. But let's pretend that we're not happy with card cash, but we are happy with gift card spread. I saved that, and now you see that's changed from 17.1 to 9%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now remove, this is how little I filter, by the way. Remove average 30-day ranks of the top 10% products. So let's say the average 30-day rank, let's have a look here, average 30-day rank of a toy, or it would be beauty and personal care here. Average 30-day rank, top 10% is under 700,000. I'm happy to have a look at it. You know, you never know. The history graph always tells you a lot more, and you want to see those spikes to see that there's been sales.
Yeah, and maybe it was selling fantastically, and then everyone went out of stock, and so the sales rank went up. But it's not because it's a bad product; it's because no one has it in stock.
Exactly. So then I'll do profit and ROI, and I put 1%. Now that seems ridiculously low. What can you do with 1%? But the thing is, I just want to see everything that's profitable. I want to just have a look at everything profitable. Now, I would probably also go in and add a prep cost as well, because prepping something is not, you know, negligible. You might find it costs you, if you're using a prep and ship house, it might cost you $1 a unit to send out something. And it might also cost you 70 cents a pound or whatever to send a box of stuff into Amazon. So you can factor in an approximation of that as well. So that's pretty much it. And then I'll hit search, and the search begins. Now, after a few minutes, we will start to see some products appear. I've got 3-day cache on. So being that I've got 3-day cache on, it's already adding products there. Being that I've got 3-day cache on, it's going through everything reasonably quickly, because it's having a look to find out anything that may have been searched by anybody in the entire community in the last 3 days. The caveat being, of course, that you're willing to accept data that may be as old as 3 days old. If you really want completely fresh data, you need to change this to live or use a shorter cache, which you can do. And there's no reason why you can't do that. If you really want newer information, or let's say a sale just started, you might want a shorter cache. And then with that cache, you'll get newer data. But if it ever comes across something that's not fresh in the database from another user, it will do a live search on that, which will take a few extra seconds per product. But it's whipping through them there. And so I'm seeing some results. So I've got a price point here of a Walgreens nighttime sleep aid, and as you can see, the columns, this is why a widescreen is good. You need this many columns, and you can make these columns work in a way that suits you. You might like to see the keeper graph. It's not a keeper graph anymore. They had us remove that, unfortunately. I just still call it that, but you might want to see the history graph right over on the left-hand side. So in that case, I'll take the history chart and I'll move it right up here.
And then for those of you guys who are lost right now, so right now it's comparing on the left side, it's the Walgreens site and the item that's on the Walgreens, and you can see all the discounts are totaled up right there. And then if you scroll right just a little bit, that's the Amazon listing. You can see the picture matches. You can see the price on Amazon. You can see your ROI, all the sales rank history stuff, the graph that he just pulled up. You can see that. So yeah. Yeah,
you can sort of see these are sales here. So where's the ROI? Let's have a look at this one then, since we've gone into there. Keep in mind, I didn't put in the prep costs and stuff, so that would adjust the price back upwards. So let's say I added $1 on there for adjusted price, or plus a bit of shipping costs. So let's say more like $15.50 that should be. But for what we've got here, with the discount, the cashback, the gift card went from $21.99 to $13.96. Amazon buy box price is $33.45. So that's quite a tidy gap. We're looking at 80% ROI.
Yeah.
I put this little box in there because I like to fiddle with it. I'm just but that just gives you an estimation of kind of what the package is going to look like.
If this is one of your replens, guys, we are so sorry that we pulled up any replens. But yeah, this is a perfect example of you set really loose filters. You set some filters, but you keep them pretty loose. And then you can look at the graph. And even though this is ranked, what was it, like 200,000 or something, you can see the the
You
historical
can see
sales.
the sales. In fact, have a
thing
look
is
at the
selling all the
estimated
time.
monthly sales here. It literally says there should be about 19 sales a month.
Yeah.
And I like to think our estimated sales is pretty good. I have to go through and sort of count that over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're looking at about the 19 there. So we're pretty good for sales over the course of the month. There's a few extra things you need to do. So you want to check restrictions for your Seller Central account. We just added this feature. It's a cool little thing.
Yeah,
you do need
that's
to
great.
install a Chrome extension for that. But if you install the Chrome extension, it'll tell you by mouse overing there whether or not you can or can't sell that through your account. But so we've just done one URL, and how many items have we got here? So there's 28 items in this particular search there. The first one looks like
that's literally the first item that popped up, and that is profitable today. If someone's watching this video right now, I don't know if I would recommend getting it, since there's going to be like 200 people watching this video and they might all get it.
You know what?
But it's a limited sale.
It is a huge pond out there. The chances there's only 6 people selling that. Let's have a look. See, this is cool. This Tactical Edge feature, where you can jump on in and see.
So he just scrolled over. He just scrolled over, and you can see exactly how many sellers are on the listing at any given time. And then when you click on that, it pulls up all the data. So now you can see, like what you're saying, Alex.
Here's some great data. Okay, the guy who's holding the buy box is merchant fulfilled. Now, anybody who's been in FBA for a little while knows that straight away you can price over him and still get the buy box on occasion. Oh no, hang on a minute. This is an example where Amazon is already rotating in the buy box of the higher seller, because I can tell it says here Amazon buy box price $34.97, and the second guy here is $34.97. You know what though? He's only got one item in stock. So we talked about this before. So he's got one in stock. The guy underneath him is back ordered until later this month. There's another guy back ordered. He's got 2. So these guys are going to sell out. Yeah,
so there's not really any current FBA people who have this as like a replenishable item. There's a couple people who maybe got it on clearance or on sale or something. But besides for those merchant fulfilled offers, there's not really any serious people on this listing. Yeah,
so you got a couple of merchant fulfilleds there. He's priced pretty low compared to this guy, $33.45. So he'll probably start getting rotated back in. You can probably try and push the envelope a bit and price a bit higher than this guy as well, who's at $35. So let's say $33.45. I mean, you can test the waters at say 36 and see if you get rotated in the buy box. But if you don't, you might have to drop that a bit. Nevertheless, at $35, you're looking at more like a 90% ROI. What were we over here? So we were at 80% ROI. Actually, so this is funny because I did a cached scan, and so in my cache I can see that the merchant fulfilled seller was the one being rotated in, and Tactical Edge has kind of updated this for us with like the most current up-to-date data. So this is an example where in my scan, well, it's not a great example because 80% is comfortable. But let's say I put must be 81% or higher ROI in my search. This would not have appeared, right? But if I go into Tactical Edge, I can see that it absolutely is one that we want because we can get as much as 89%. Now, what I mean, this is like not the best way to explain it, but let's say, why did I put 1% in my searches for just to have a look at positive ROI? Because I might find in this instance that the merchant fulfilled seller, which appears in the search, is only say 1%. He only has 2 items in stock, and then right above him, we're looking at 20%, and it's fulfillment by Amazon, and or 25% or something. And suddenly, we don't care about this guy here. We don't care about the fact it's 1%. We still want to buy these. We still want to send them in. We still want to list them, but we're not going to list them at the buy box price. We're going to list them at the higher price. And maybe he's a merchant fulfilled seller too. So maybe we can list even higher than him and be looking at say 35%. So you got to start analyzing the deals rather than just glossing over them. You've got Okay, so this is an example where maybe the packaging changed. Let's just check the UPCs are the same. Yeah, so the UPCs match perfectly. Stool softener. Okay, of all the products I could pick. But anyway, nevertheless. I can see here, though, that the packaging has changed. Now, you think, well, it's probably the exact same product. The UPCs are the same. Yeah, that's all well and good, but I'm always thinking about keeping my account perfect. And you don't want some person who complains a lot to see the two different products and say, this does not look exactly the same as what I went to purchase. And even if you were to argue with them, well, no, it's actually the same product, it's just different packaging, they're probably still within their rights to be particular about it and give you an unfavorable review, which could then impact your 100% perfect rating, which could then impact how often you get rotated into the buy box. And then you get this cascading effect where, pretty soon you'll wish that you had a brand new Seller Central account, and that can be a whole big new drama to sort of start up. So there's a few things that are red flags to me. One of the main things is it a perfect match? And I'm always looking for, it's got to be the perfect match. You got to watch for things like, this might say it's profitable, but it might say it's a 2-pack of items, and this is only a single.
Yes.
We have an algorithm built in where it tries to automatically detect whether something is a multi-pack or not, and it tries to adjust the quantity accordingly. So let's say it's over here, it said 2-pack. As long as Amazon has that in their system as 2-pack within the quantity data as well, then we would be able to detect that, adjust the source price of purchasing to, and then spit out the correct calculations accordingly. But, this one little search, that could be our day's work. It's not
exactly.
Not every store is going to be like that.
Yeah. And while you're looking through that, like, it's still searching even more pages. So yeah, we've got maybe 20 right now to look through, but as soon as you're done with, or I guess 28, as soon as you're done with those 28, like, there's probably going to be another 20 that you can get through by the time you're done actually analyzing all those.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to want to run multiple searches too, because some stores will be nice and friendly and you'll see results just like you want them. Other stores, you'll see some stuff, but you'll be restricted in that category. And then of course it's worthwhile going through the ungating process and getting this. This is a lot of closed doors and vaults to get to that complete freedom of, but those people who take the time and make the steps, and they get ungated in, say, beauty and topicals.
Yeah.
They get ungated in clothing and shoes and toys, and as those opportunities are open more and more, then the results become more and more attractive.
The harder something is, the more profitable it is usually.
Yeah, and you might find that you are gated in this and you can't sell it, and you go, well, dang. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to save this product. So you can add this product to your saved list, and you can save it into a folder. And when you become ungated in that particular category, you can go and refresh. You can update that product as it is on the day that you want to. It'll then revisit both Walgreens and Amazon, and it'll say, well, look, you're ungated and it's still profitable. And then you may want to go in and just check out that the cashback and gift cards are still relevant and up to date.
And that's sort of like how we almost feel like it's using cheat codes for finding online replens, because we can set like a saved list and update it, because so Walgreens, for example, it's buy one, get one 50% off right now. It's not going to go on next week, but in 2 or 3 months, they're probably going to have a very similar sale. And so we have a lot of replenishable items that it maybe isn't replenishable when it's full price, but they have sales so often at places like Walgreens or Kohl's or wherever else, that we just set those updates. And so when we look in the email again, if you're getting those email updates, you can see, oh, they're having a 30% off. Let me see my saved list, see like what I can look at from that store. Oh, okay, let me just reorder 10 of those, 100 of those, 5 of those. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Once you find those sweet products in a save list, you can just replay all the time. And, that's your base kind of income then. And then you can sort of just stack on top of that.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, so oh,
that's
go
the
ahead.
basics. That's the basics of it. Every store is going to be different. Some stores are, less cooperative than others, but there's still gold amongst them.
Uh-huh.
But it is worthwhile, Plus, one thing I like about tactical arbitrage, and when it first started working, back when it was bare bones, I got really excited running searches because I felt like I was treasure hunting. For the first time, I could just, I could try and make some smart decisions on where to point the software,
Uh-huh.
and then see the results. And I felt like, it was pioneering this new landscape kind of thing. It was so cool.
Absolutely.
And then it's still like that. I mean, look at this. It's only like 6 guys selling it, and then only two of them are.
Yeah, right there. You found treasure first try.
Yeah, and that was not particularly hard. Like I said, though, some stores will be more difficult. You might run an entire search on Sierra Trading Post, and unless they've got a sale on at the time or whatnot, you might find only two little gemstones amongst a lot of searching. One of the good things about the Search Manager now allowing you to run multiple searches at once is, we're doing some tests at the moment. Well, Walgreens is still going, but we've got Walgreens. We've got an Australian search going on at the moment. We're doing a test on. We've got a search in the UK we're doing a test on at the moment. So these could all be bringing about some gold.
Yeah.
That one we're testing because we think the site itself is broken, because the sites do occasionally get changed at the source, and we have to modify our code accordingly to sort of fix it. So I would suspect, based on what I'm seeing here, that this site needs a fix. So, but I can sort of see down the Walgreens that we're getting quite a lot of products added down here.
Oh yeah, just about up to 60.
59 now. So something I added recently for people who are just starting out tactical arbitrage, and it's not completely rolled out yet. It's in beta, and I've never really showcased this publicly, but the beta guys have got it. I've released it to about a third of the network. The people who are with TA right from the very beginning are kind of looking at it now and giving us some feedback and whatnot. It's called Always Be Scanning. Now, Always Be Scanning is so cool. I love it. I didn't really expect it to sort of work quite as well as it did, but what we do is we basically just get the entire top 10% of the Amazon catalog, which, as you can imagine, is 30 million, per country. So we're doing it all countries, and we just randomly for each different member, we randomly grab ASINs from this massive catalog, and we run a reverse search through it all. The reverse search basically means we're looking backwards at our entire catalog of stores to see whether or not this item exists in our stores. So it's almost like a curated list, individually tailored for every single user. Because you should be seeing, if I look in somebody else's account, they're not going to see this pot, because this one was randomly selected for me. And there's going to be a lot of misses, sure, but there's going to be a lot of hits too. And I've had this running for a week now, and I'm seeing 479 things to look at, and that to me is pretty exciting, Obviously, there's still going to be some misses along the way. I mean, this looks like it might be 3 black hockey pucks, and this looks like it might be 3 multicolored hockey pucks.
Yeah.
But we're going to see a lot of exact matches as well.
Yeah.
Like, I dig this. What's this? Monty Python, The Holy Grail, awesome movie. $24.99 at Walmart. Selling for $55.99 over at Amazon. And had I never scanned the DVD category of Walmart, which I would not think
because pretty much everyone is gated in DVDs.
Yeah, so true. So this might be one that you could be restricted in, but it also might be one that's worth getting unrestricted in when you start seeing those kind of margins randomly popping up. but you might be unrestricted in, say, Funko Pop toys.
And when you see big things like that too, like it's worth looking in not just on Amazon, but like, so the Monty Python thing, for example, I mean, if you're getting $30, 100% ROI on that, go ahead and check eBay, like check your other sources. If it's that profitable, if it's that much of like a hot commodity on one site, it's probably similar on other sites.
Yeah, and I mean, I get excited about this feature because it's just scouring Amazon, like in places that you would not necessarily have thought to look before.
Yeah.
You just may not have decided to scan one particular niche, kitchen category, because you might be in the mindset of just always looking for, say, the toys or whatever. This does the extra work for you of looking alongside. Now, some people might not want their want Tactical Arbitrage running an additional scan for them. You can turn it off. For me, it's a bit of a no-brainer to keep it on because you're seeing more things than you normally would.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly why we sign up to the software in the first place, is so that we can find products to sell.
Yep.
This is a great way to sort of find a bunch of stuff that's not the same stuff as the guy next door you're going to get.
And to find new stores to check. Like if you haven't ever tried Belk before, well, there you go. That shoe's from Belk. So there's another site to add to your list of, oh, I should sign up for Belk's email list. I should start checking them because obviously there's some profit there.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to release this globally. We still have some changes to make. I want to make it, for example, on the settings page, if you put a category exclusion or an ASIN exclusion or a brand exclusion, I want that to sort of filter into here. It doesn't really do that at the moment because of the way we just sort of made it all function. It's functioning very well. You could definitely go out there and start finding products tomorrow. We've had plenty of emails from the beta users who are already like, I had one guy message me this morning saying he found some feminine hygiene products that he never would have thought to scan, but he's certainly finding some good profit down that rabbit hole from always be scanning.
Yeah.
So this is something that's kind of coming. I think it's maybe 1 to 2 weeks away from getting a total global release. It's putting significant load on our servers. So as we roll this out, we're having to do some modifications on the back end to make sure that we can handle it. At this stage, it is costing us quite a bit more to sort of bolster the network for this. At this stage, those people who have signed up prior to this being globally released won't be affected by any future price changes, because we may find out that this is such a good advantage that we either have to separate it out and have it as an add-on cost, or adjust the price of future subscription tiers upwards to accommodate the fact that it's costing us a lot more to operate this. But I really want it in there so badly. I really want this in there because it's just so cool. It's a bit of a golden arrow for people to just sort of start seeing products straight away that can maybe kickstart their FBA experience.
Yeah.
One caveat is you do need to have your working keys in there. Before it starts running a scan, it'll just check to make sure that that you've put the keys in the settings. You really need the keys in the settings to run Tactical Arbitrage anyway. But it's kind of like a no-brainer to put them in anyway. But it won't just scan if you've got empty space in the settings. You kind of need to have the settings filled in first.
Yeah.
But
all right. So so Alex, while we still have just a couple minutes left, because I want to be mindful of your time. I know you're going on a big trip to New Zealand. So just to for a pinball competition of all things, who knew that was something that existed? I didn't, but that's a super cool hobby. I'm real jealous that you're flying to New Zealand for a pinball competition. So let's jump through. There was just a couple big questions that I saw on the previous thread that we can just kind of like rapid fire knock these off. So a couple of these I'll kind of answer because I know, and a couple of them I'll toss over to Alex. So first, someone asked, how much do I need to spend like my sourcing budget for Tactical Arbitrage to be worth it? I'd say there's not like a hard and fast rule. I don't know what Alex's opinion on this is. I would say between like 500 to 1,000 would be like your sourcing budget for a month. Because of the cost of Tactical Arbitrage, you don't want the cost of tactical arbitrage to be like more than the cost that you can spend on your inventory, because that just doesn't make sense. So yes.
Yeah, Amazon has some options they introduced, I think, a year ago now, where in the earlier days you can ask for an extraction to your bank account more manually.
Yeah.
It used to be that it was on the set 2 weekly cycle.
Yeah, we're on the 2-week cycle.
Yeah, and you know, for people who've already got themselves well established, they're probably happy to just stay on that. It's easier for accounting, amongst other things, just to sort of stick with the 2 weekly sort of cycle. But I believe, and this happened after I stopped selling on Amazon.com, quite as stopped basically being such a major player in that space, hands-on, that you can now extract your payouts more regularly. Is that something that you're aware of?
Yeah, new sellers are able to do that.
Okay, so one thing I would recommend though is to buy wider than deeper in the early days. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna accidentally buy something which was supposed to be part of a bundle, or you're gonna buy something which was only just temporarily spiking in price on Amazon and then dropped back down to another price. Or you're going to buy something, or you might have bought it off a list that 100 people were on, and suddenly you learn all about what a race to the bottom is. You're going to make mistakes, and that I think every single person who starts out wants to minimize those mistakes in a way that doesn't really impact their capital. Now, the best, smartest way to do this is not go out and buy just 12 of one unit and 12 of one unit. Buy just a couple of this ace and a couple of this ace. And it's a bit more work for you to list a bit more, etc. Buy one or two of this, buy one or two of that, and then spread out your risk. So let's say you've got, say, 20 products over the course of, say, $500, and it's 1 to 2 of each. You send in those 20. You might find that you had made no mistake on any of them, and you just make your profit. Or you might find that you've made a mistake on a few of them that you learn about for the next time you go around, and your damage is mitigated by the fact that you did it correctly for 16 products and you only sort of messed up with a few of them. You might, you'll learn things like some things like clothing and shoes might have a slightly higher refund rate, and that can be frustrating when you've given yourself a pat on the back for shipping, something which had a $13.50 profit, and then they get returned to Amazon and they're completely unsaleable because they were worn for a week first. But you learn all this stuff and you find out which are the safer things and which aren't. Yeah. Anyway, that, like you said, $500 to $1,000 should be a good amount.
All right. So the next person was asking about optimizing when just starting. I think we mostly covered that as far as like just go into the product research thing, set your parameters pretty wide, and then dive in and do some research. So that's how I would say to optimize. Next question. This person said, every item that we source with Tactical Arbitrage ended up tanking really, really quickly. How can you guys navigate that? Or what's your advice for avoiding that in the future?
So I don't see that a lot, except unless certain particular scenarios can cause that. Okay, the kind of reason why that might even happen in the first place can be nipped in the bud before you even start sourcing. So first of all, don't just scan a sale on Target Toys on the day that Target Toys announced their sale. There's 1,000 different websites you can source from. There's plenty of ways you can find out what they're currently selling and what they're not selling, and what's currently a promotion and what's not a promotion. But if you're going to go to the most popular department store on the web and go to the most popular category on the web and search the sale on the web that most people are going to be well informed on, then there is a likelihood that you'll get some products at the same time as some other Tactical Arbitrage members. So what I would recommend you do is not necessarily ignore those sales, but maybe get the stock in your house and hang on to it, because those guys are going to, let's say you get this board games for $13 on a 2-for-1 special, but the board game normally sells for $35 or whatever on Amazon. I'd get it in your house. It cost you $13, and you can watch. And let's say that there is a bit of a spike in sellers for a while, as those people sell their 1 unit, or somebody bought 3 units, or somebody bought 2 units, as those people sort of like drop off, then send yours in. The other option is you can send it into Amazon, but be conscious of storage prices, because Amazon will get you on the storage if it sits for too long.
Yes.
And just price it at the price that you want. And as long as the sales velocity is there, let's say a product's got an estimated sales of 164 units a month, that's great to know, right? Because you can look in Tactical Edge and say, there's this guy's got 3 units, that guy's got 8 units, this guy's got 2 units. You can pretty much see that all these guys that are trying to undercut each other by 1 cent just to get the stock moving and stuff, if all they did was take their hands off the keyboard for 5 seconds, then those 5 units will sell, these 8 units will sell, these 3 units will sell, and then pretty soon we'll back up to the same price point that we were. So even though you probably should look outside the most commonly searched pools, you can also look inside the most commonly searched pools. If the deal's great and it's a good sale at the time, just do it smart. Don't send your stuff in at the same time as everyone else, and don't fight for the buy box by cutting somebody by 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent. That creates a race to the bottom. Just you sit on the price you're comfortable with, watch the estimated sales, know your ASINs, and you can always look at previous races to the bottom in the history graph. You can always see what happens. See what happens. Like the price goes down, the sellers go down, then the price goes back up again, and the sellers sort of stay the same until some other sale, which includes the same ASIN again.
Yep, exactly. All right. This one, we also sort of touched on it by accident, but this person asks, could it be used outside the US? Which I actually I didn't know that you could source. So obviously you can source outside the US for Amazon.com. But I didn't, I don't know, I guess I didn't ever really look that far. I didn't know that you could source outside the US for like the .au, .uk, whatever else.
Well, Australia's kind of closed environment at the moment. We're still bolstering some background data. Australia's kind of probably a bad example because it's such a small pool. We're still building the data for it. But Canada to Canada or cross country, you can source in America, sell in Canada, whatever. Or you can source in America, sell in the UK. But anyway, there's America, Canada. I think there's even Mexico I put in there. There's UK, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Japan. I think Japan's in there. I need to double check because we realized it was using a bit of server space and we only have maybe 1-2 people from Japan using it.
Wow.
I'm not sure if we might have removed it just for the sake of, the 80-20 rule.
20% of your resources. Awesome. And then the very last one, it's a little bit more niche, so I know you can use this for wholesale list. Like if you are trying to get into wholesale and your wholesale supplier gives you a whole list with all the price points. This person asked a question. I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Is it possible to use it if your wholesale list does not have like an easy to format like pricing list? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I'd have to sort of see what the format anomalies were. So assuming that there's a column with UPCs and a column with prices, that should be all you need. We can also sort of, if there's no UPCs, sort of try and work with the title. Unless you've got an image link though as well, then we're back to sort of like titles maybe not necessarily being a perfect match within Amazon and us occasionally getting filtered in the wrong product. But usually as long as you've kind of got your product code and your price. Now, if you've got like a pack price, so let's say you're getting 20 units in a box for a certain price, then you want to also import the pack column because we'll do the maths in Tactical Arbitrage and say, well, if it's 20 units for $20, then we're going to see that as $1 a unit and we're going to make the calculations accordingly. So if you have any issues with a particular Excel or CSV spreadsheet that you want us to sort of just check and comment on, it might be better to sort of send us a direct support ticket on that so that we can answer you with a more specific to you
Yeah.
stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was everything that I had on my list. I really appreciate you spending the time with us, Alex. It means a lot to the group. I know this will help a lot of people out who are either a little bit confused or not really sure if it's something that they wanted. So hopefully this sort of showed them what tactical arbitrage is all about and all of that. So yeah, again, if you guys are rewatching the replay, feel free to drop like comments either on Facebook or over on the YouTube channel. And I will try to answer stuff as I can. If I don't know something, I'll probably throw it over to Alex and see if he has a good answer to something that I can put. So
no problem at all. Thank you very much for your time and everybody who watched. I appreciate it. Yeah, always here to help, and I'm glad you enjoyed the software.
Awesome. All right, go win yourself a pinball tournament.
I hope I get a trophy. Yeah, I'm not that good, unfortunately. I'm better at software design than pinball.
All right. Have a good one, man. We'll see ya.
Cheers. Thanks. Yeah.